The Ninoy Aquino International Airport is brimming with passengers rushing to their provinces just a few days before New Year's Eve.
Aside from monitoring the influx of passengers, the Transportation Department is also tightening its restrictions for Chinese travelers amid a COVID-19 surge in China. Gerard de la Peña with a big story.
The holiday rush continues at the NAIA Terminal 3 with the influx of passengers who wish to welcome the new year in the provinces. The arrival area is crowded as many overseas Filipinos made it home after years of being unable to travel. Long lines are seen at the check-in counters. John Ray, who works in Cavite, says he is busy at work and it is only now that he can fly home to Iloilo after over a year.
Ngayon lang din kami binigyan ng bakasyon.
Genesis anticipated the hassles. That's why she came in at around noon, even if her flight to Palawan was scheduled at 6 p.m.
Masikip. Siya doon traffic po.
Traffic lang papunta.
Opo, kaya kailangan ko mag-aga.
Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista said the holiday rush revealed the long-standing problems at the NAIA, like inadequate facilities and lack of transport options to ferry passengers in and out of the NAIA complex. And he firmly believes that this can be resolved through the privatization of the airport.
It's the gateway to the Philippines. Yan yung dito pumapasok yung mga tourists natin no. There are a lot of improvements that we need to implement sa airport.
Bautista said the privatization would entail repairs and massive changes aimed at making the NAIA a world-class gateway. This parking lot right in front of the NAIA Terminal 3 will have to be reconfigured to give way to the construction of the NAIA station of the Metro Manila subway. This, together with the unutilized spaces around the NAIA complex, will have to be maximized. And this is what the DOTR will offer to investors who would want to partake in the rehabilitation and privatization of operations of the NAIA. Bautista said they currently work with the Asian Development Bank for the creation of the terms of reference, which will be shown to prospective investors for the bidding slated within the first quarter of 2023. But more urgent is the decision to impose restrictions on Chinese travelers amid rising COVID cases in China. Bautista said there is no need to impose travel bans, but the government should at least require passengers from China to show negative antigen test results.
We adopt the protocols just like what the other countries are doing, no? Kasi syempre yung COVID is still there, no? And kailangan protektahan natin yung ating mga kababayan dito sa Pilipinas, no?
But if the health department were to be asked, current protocols are enough and that there is no need to impose restrictions.
Nakita natin ng ibang bansa na pumutok ang kanilang mga kaso, no? Libo-libo, hundreds of thousands, pero hindi naman natin sila sinaran ng border. Kumpiyansa pa rin tayo sa ngayon that we can adequately guard our borders through this kind of policies that we have in the country.
Officials said the matter has yet to be discussed with the Interagency Task Force. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
And here to give us his insights on the possible restrictions for Chinese travelers, we have with us on the show infectious disease expert Dr. Rontgene Solante. Sir, magandang gabi and welcome to The Big Story.
Hi, Ed. Good evening.
Hi, sir. Also with Maricel Halili here. Sir, well, una-una, I understand that it's still a proposal. Pag-uusapan pa sa Interagency Task Force kung magdadagdag ng restrictions for Chinese travelers. Pero from your point of view po, from your perspective, should we put in more restrictions on incoming Chinese travelers?
I don't think we should put additional restrictions for Chinese incoming travelers. The current protocol stipulated that anybody who is not vaccinated should undergo antigen testing 24 hours before travel. And I think that that would be enough, no, for us to really screen those individuals who are from other countries, not only China. We should not isolate and single out China having the surge of cases. Remember, if China is having their surge of cases, this is a unique situation of China because this is the first time that they have this Omicron surge and driven by BF.7. BF.7 has been with other countries for so long now, and it has not caused any increase in the cases. Why unique in China? Because this is the first time that most of the population has relaxed their protocol, and obviously with a highly transmissible virus, cases should rise. So I don't think we need additional restrictions. We just need to monitor the cases. We need to strengthen our surveillance And we have to protect the population by really telling them to be vigilant and compliant with health protocols.
But sir, other countries are already imposing stricter protocols for those who are coming from China. Don't you think it's also about time for us to at least i-add lang natin yung RT-PCR para dun sa mga papasok dito?
Well, Maricel, no, we will be going back again to that protocol of very strict border control. Remember, these are all driven by an Omicron variant of concern. Unless there is a new emergence of a variant of concern that is not Omicron, then that's something that the country should be aware of. But if you're talking about BF.7, BA.5, or even BA.2, which I think these are the drivers of infection, why should we strictly close our border when in fact we also have that variant of concern here in the Philippines? What's the difference between China and the Philippines? The difference here is that our population immunity compared to China is a lot better because we have more boosted population, particularly the vulnerable population. And in fact, you see, the BF.7 has been reported by DOH 2 to 3 weeks ago, and yet our cases is not that high and expected to increase in terms of hospital utilization. So I think we'll just have to monitor. We have to be careful in looking at this strict border control.
Sir, let me just back up a bit. Could you give us an idea kung bakit ang lala ng sitwasyon sa China compared to us? Considering na they manufacture their own vaccines. Of course, you have Sinovac among many other Chinese made COVID-19 vaccines. What explains yung surge sa kanila versus yung sa atin?
Yeah, the population that is being affected in China are mostly, so those who are hospitalized, are mostly the elderly population. The elderly population, vulnerable population, boosted population is really very low compared to the Philippines. That's one. Second, they don't have the mRNA vaccine. Western vaccine, most of our boosted population now, even if we have the Sinovac, but a lot of our population, when we administered the booster, took the mRNA, either the Pfizer and the Moderna. And studies are so detailed about this that when you are given an mRNA vaccine after receiving your Sinovac, your immunity, your neutralizing antibody protects you well against more severe infection, which is not seen in China because most of the population there are given the inactivated vaccine and not the mRNA vaccine.
Sir, despite the surge of COVID-19 in China, kumustahin ko naman yung sitwasyon natin dito sa Pilipinas. What's your projection? How do you see the number of COVID cases, especially after the holiday season in the Philippines?
I would see that because of increase in mobility, increase in gatherings now, there will be a slight uptick of the cases. That is expected because factors like there are people or population whose immunity has waned already, especially for those who have been vaccinated 6 months ago. So most likely they can still get the infection. But in terms of rate of hospitalization, I don't think it will really affect significantly. And I would still say that we are still good in terms of rate of hospitalization among those who develop severe COVID.
Sir, pahabol lang, sir. Of course, we do all know that the President and the delegation are headed to China early next month. Should they continue with this mission despite the surge there in China, or are we well protected against it already?
Ed, I highly advise, no? So who are the advisors of the President? I would highly advise if people with the President or mismo yung Presidente natin should be receiving already the second booster, being 50 years old and above. If there is available bivalent vaccine before they can travel, I really highly recommend that they should be also given the bivalent vaccine just to add another layer of protection, particularly against Omicron variant that is driving cases in China.
All right, thank you for all your insights, infectious disease expert Dr. Rontgene Solante.